Okay, hi. And hi, so this is my second attempt. Of course, I've been doing several attempts over the last 20 years at a very in a very ground level study. But this study, basically, as I told you in my previous discussion, this is something related to the we call it as uh, a study based on how the course of the play or a game or a sequential event uh, mixed with, like in a cricket play game, messages, a message, a theme, like that. uh, and no, it's something like we call it as the in my study, the course of the game is directly proportional to the result of the game. Okay, to the result of the game. So if the course of the game says that what you're seeing in this figure is predominantly talks about, you know the 260 is not coming down, which means the ball, that round figure that you see there, uh, studied, based on the, we call it as octave graph. The octave graph says, so how the whole thing works is, theory step one, in a sheet of paper you use the theory of Euler's topology, or the Gauss's surface based study, or we call it as units of theory as fifth, we call it as the uh, postulate. Fifth postulate, the study talks about, you can see, that is the triangle, almost shape of a triangle. You can see, of course, my the the style of my hat is, thing has been little deviating. However, excuse me for this difficulty that I'm giving you. You can see the almost the triangle shape that is coming. That is the course of the play is directly proportional to the result of the play. That is, in a play, you can see activities, you can see some knowledge, you can see a message, you can see some sort of a theme. Based on this, this course, it talks about, let us say, 300 to, let us say, it talks about 300 below, 300 below, not 300 below. That is, it says that at the end of the winning person is going, the India scored between 300, and it's the winning person is going to win with very smartly, around 6 weeks, 6 wickets or 7 wickets in hand, or even so the actual score was something like 294 for 5 wickets. So these are the actual. The Australia scored 293 and things good. So why I'm using this medium to study the course and the result, which is directly proportional, is to give an indirectly proportional to the theory that I'm using here. To see that if you think that we are standing on a line, the topology that you see, assuming that between the sun and the moon and the earth, that is, the earth is evolving around the sun at a particular stage. It is going to the, you can east, from east, the earth, no, the earth, it is all static. So since the earth is moving between, it talks about east, and we talk about east and west. So basically, assuming the sun is static, and the moon is also, and earth is, since it is moving, reflecting a straight line. Okay, straight line between sun and moon and the earth. let us say let us say sun and earth, okay, the moon on the backyard, okay. Now the background is moon. Assuming there's a straight line, we're standing on that. So we are not standing like how you see the sun. You have to lift your head and see about to see the sun. No. So we are assuming that is on straight line. So it's an imaginary figure. This imaginary figure is directly uh, proportional to the cause and result. Okay. So this assuming this is an imaginary line. No, I don't call it an imaginary. It's a cause. Okay. Something you can see a somewhat similarity to the Euclid's fifth postulate, bringing down to the pointed angle to the down, stating that the two teams meet. When the two teams meet, they meet for a purpose. They meet for there's a activity, and when there's an activity, there's a certain game that is happening, and when a certain game happens, certain results are happening, and certain things are happening, and then this talks about the most India won the toss to bring something like it's going to win the game. India is going to win the game. It talks about that. Then as these are the messages that you can see. Okay, minimal something like minimum 3, like we said, a minimum 300, like that it talks about, and it clearly says very diplomatically. It says that the solution now India, it's like a swan song. This thing in the graph says there's a swan song, and in talking about hostel, it talks about the methodical, very meticulous, step by step play. And here it talks about this solution that India acts smart, thinks smart. That is, if the luck favors Australia and they prefer to bat, assuming that they prefer to bat, then there's a certain luck that favors them, but predominantly the solution is in the ball is in India's court. It talks about this solution. And it also talks about here, see below, it gives tips luck favoring that beautiful India. Wait, watch, play. Uh, Wait, watch, play. So, in below it talks about the upper thing, and it talks about 3 to 4. So this is how. Now, what is the study that is that using this Euclid's fifth postulate and the guidelines of octave theory, the theory of octave, and using all this, that the in the first line, and the second line, all that we talk about the course, and is exactly, it says that as the line goes up, as if the line A is higher, and it talks, in theory of octave, that. So it talks that when you theory, then it talks the second line comes down, assuming that both are equal. So the results, the result and the cause more or less talks the same thing, and the message is loud and clear. You understand this point? So this is a new thing which I'm trying to work on as a research basis, from using this sheet of paper to see how it is happening. Let us say between the topology and the surface. Okay, let us say standing on a straight line, assuming between sun and earth and the moon on the back, and on the back, assuming that it's a straight line, and we are standing and on an imaginary line, and assuming that the cause and the course of the action, uh, and the result is same. Okay, and then how do you find out? You're using this fundamentals we are working it on. Okay, so how do I do it? It's a little funny, tricky thing of people for apparently apparently, that is, when you see it from outside, you will see it as how I'm taking this octave, measure. That is, the fundamental unit of the octave is 2, and let us say the perfect 4 is, let us say 4 is to 3, or the perfect 2 is 2 is to 1, or perfect 8. So between these, using these fundamentals, then we are actually seeing it, taking the octave thing working on. So whether I am playing it today or whether I am playing it tomorrow, let us say the course and the result is same. So I can find out using the Euler's topology or the Gaussian surface or the Euclid's fifth postulate that it comes to the straight line, and there is the message then is it is neither happening in topology, that's we call it string space, nor it is happening on the surface, but between these two between these two there is a certain course of action, that how the oxygen is derived from the plants, and we you inhale oxygen from the thing, and exhale carbon dioxide, and goes, and it's like that, same theory, same fundamentals. There is a certain action and reaction that is happening in a medium that is static. Okay, assuming there's a static, and these are things happening like a stage. Assuming the stage is a static factor, and a lot of activities are happening, and which gives a certain fun and entertainment and results, and which we at the end of the day, when you study what is the bottom line, then we say, okay, this many people came, this many people enjoyed, this many people danced, this many people played dandiyas, like that. Then you have a statistics. So this is a statistical study, we can call it as a geometric, or using geometrical principles, and using and and getting in, and we can, where we can use what are the benefits of this, we can use it as a statistical study to bring various difficulties of the social issues, various social issues, the various difficulties that we can face in a social issue, and how we can resolve it. For example, statistical population and things like that. So